So starting to button up everything for roadie. Done most of the things on my checklist. There's no oil leaks anymore. Had a broken bit on the end of the, I don't know what sat on the end there, but there was 2 little holes where a spot weld broke off and was leaking oil into the headers. Took the rocker cover off, welded up those, painted over again so that doesn't leak anymore. There's no more leaks anywhere from this engine, which is great. The only thing I really have to consider is, I guess, running an airbox over to here. And the other thing I was thinking of is how, I guess, non-factory and how stand out and scream out that this is modified looks for when I go get the roadworthy. And I have no idea why, but I completely forgot I had this the whole time. So you know, I can just drop a 14-inch air cleaner on top of that and it'll look standard. But not only that, this, if I just get rid of it now, this giant 100mm throttle body is just huge. It's not suited to this engine. I mean, this is a very fairly standard baby cam. Sure, it's a 5.8 litre engine, 351 cubic inches, but 100mm throttle body. This thing's probably making, I don't know, 250 horsepower, if that, or something. It's no good. That means tip in throttle just off idle, and that is really not just difficult to tune, just hasn't got really great drivability. You think if you've got all this big plenum volume as well, full of air, and then it going into the manifold. This, as you can see, look at that. Now this is like 1000 CFM. I'll do the numbers on what that is and that, but as you can see, we can just actuate the primaries to really develop a much better vacuum signal, and it'll be much closer to where the injectors are as well. So I am going to chuck this on, and I filled this with RTV because this is a Chinese piece of hardware, of course, and it was just leaking past there. So I just got the shits with it when I was testing it on. This is actually, I had this from the 626, the first setup on the 626, and the reason I'd forgot about it was because when I was on the 626, you can see the progressive linkages here. I didn't want that. I wanted both butterflies to open at the same time, so it had mechanical secondaries instead of this sort of sliding ratio. So what I'd done is I'd messed around with this, and it had just basically not worked very well at all. It would bind up and stuff like that, so I just put it in a box and forgot about it. But I think this is a much better option for the truck now, and probably even in the future, to be honest. So like I said, because it was off the 626, I think it was off my RX-7. I think this was actually off the RX-7 close to like 7 years ago. I did put it on the 626 briefly when I put the RX-7's engine in it, but yeah, this was off the RX-7 like close to 7-8 years ago. So it's been sitting in a box for about that long, but so because it was off that and that was a turbo car, I've actually got the top hat sort of thing that goes on here as well. So I think this one will be here to stay. And as you can see now, I've fixed the linkages so they all work now. So only thing will be some of this fuel line here where it comes up. That's pretty much where the linkage needs to sit. So I'll just have to sort some of that out, but I think that's I think that is us. I think that's the way forward here. So we'll get this off and whack that on, see what drivability's like. So throttle body off, and right here is the solution. So if we whack that on there, we encounter our first problem, which is I don't have enough light here. So as you can see there, that's hitting on the hose, so I need to solve that, and I'll fix that right now. Alright, we sit that on there, you can see it's just hitting our Raceworks Teflon hose there, but I knew this was going to happen, so I already have the solution. Bang. 2-inch carby spacer. And that goes on there just like that. Phew. Hey? Thing of beauty. And as you can see again, here's the primary throttle body activation. Here's the progressive linkage. That's just what we want. So you can see it all in action there, and one of the main reasons I wanted to do this setup was exactly for that reason. So going to Red Joe and just getting on the road, if we have a quick look at what the setup used to look like and what it looks like now, you can see that this is probably a little bit more Red Joe friendly in that. So I'll probably take away this air filter, run a bit of a hose from here to here, and maybe I'll just get a normal oil filter caps there. I think that takes care of the emission side of things, because that's exactly what the emissions were like back in 1976 or whatever, so I'm pretty sure that covers me for that. With a filter like this, well, that's factory style filter as well, so I don't need to run an airbox, and I think that just makes it a fair bit easier than me having to go to the bloody wreckers and get airbox and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's not all I've got at the moment. You see the belt is off this. Now this thing, one of the main reasons I guess I was going away from the Cleveland at first is because there's a bit of a mechanical noise here somewhere, and I was just incredibly lazy and not invested in this truck so much, and I didn't know if that was the noise was from some kind of like the tune-up being bad, and maybe it was pinging or something, or mechanical noise in the drivetrain, or the bottom end, or the distributor or something, or even the water pump. So what I getting back invested in this thing and putting some time into it, took the belt off, ran it, and found that the noise stopped essentially when the belt is taken off. So that tells me that it was either the alternator or the water pump. I know the alternator is brand new, so bang. I'm going to guess that that's my culprit. It feels like there's a bit of play in this, so I'm assuming that's the fins of the water pump hitting or something. So I have one of these, just a cheapy cast iron water pump, but guess what? Water will come in through here and get pumped through the engine and leave the engine, and that's all it needs to bloody do. So I can settle on if I want to do something like Davies Craig or electric water pump or something later on, but for now I just want the truck to be all reliable and not making noises and stuff. So bang, that fixes that. Secondary for roadworthy, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to have any rips in the seat, so if I just go in here, you can see there's an actual tear in the seat there, and it's the only sort of rip or anything in the seat. So just so I'm covered off for that, I just got this cloth tape, and I can stick that on there for now and look at getting a different seat or retrim later. But another thing I got while getting some parts during the week was this. And if anyone knows what this is for, well, you know what we've got in store. This is 28 ounce external balance, because that is what a Clevo engine is. A Clevo externally balanced. So the balancer is a 28 ounce balance on it at the front, and then the standard flywheel here has 28 ounce on it as well. So we need like for like flex plate. So I'm pretty sure all Clevos, the 351 Clevos, all 28 ounce, and a later model Windsors were 50 ounce. So that should do us. One of the other things I installed as well was this recovery style radiator overflow tank. So it comes out of a Mishimoto massive radiator and into here. So that is good news. Nice little polished unit here from Raceworks. It's nice to have it's nice that companies still make some nice polished stuff, because black engine bay, black fittings, black ignition leads and that, sometimes it's just nice to have a bit of a raw brushed polished aluminium just to set those blacks and blues and stuff like that off. So next step, I guess, after Rego 2 is I've got to look into, obviously I want to put a turbo. I've got to work out where I want to put the turbo. So I'm thinking the turbo will go probably here on the passenger side. Air intake will be over that side. And then, yeah, turbo will be here. Dump pipe will go down there easily because there's no steering box or anything on this side. So even though the automatic starter motor is on this side, there's still plenty of clearance out this side for it. So if I got the turbo here, I need to work out somewhere to put an AC compressor. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure the factory one's probably like somewhere up here. But with the turbo being here, I'm not going to have all that room for it. So I mean, the other option is, you know, I could have the turbo here, more over here even, but start getting in trouble with how you're going to route exhaust. I mean, you know, you could route the exhaust up here or something, or down or whatever, but I guess I'll work at that plan after. The other option, I guess, is, I mean, I'm probably going to custom make anything anyway, so just down here underneath the alternator, there's nothing. So there's plenty of room down there. So as long as I've got somewhere down there to pick up a bolt off, a mount a bracket or whatever, I should be okay. Alright, let's see what it's like with this. Haven't touched the tune up yet, but... And that would be a flat battery. That's not bad. Just take this off here, it's rattling away there. And there we go. So got a bit of the old goo in there because I was racing with this is actually off my original old FD RX7 when I had a Bridgeport on it, and I had the quad throttle body set up with the turbo that was on it, and that's the same turbo that's actually going to go on this truck. The reason I had that there is I never had this little plate. You can see there that silver plate. Now that plate with Holy or these Chinese equivalents of it, the gaskets and sometimes manifolds, just like this spacer, you can see that it's a fair bit in there compared to where the base of this is. And what happens if you don't have that plate there, it doesn't offer any support for the gasket and they leak. I remember when these first come out, people that don't know, I worked for one of the biggest parts wholesalers in Australia for many years, 7 or 8 years I worked there for, and when these throttle bodies first come out, people are putting them on cars and we're having a lot of issues where they were really cut. So the ones that were, I think, manifolds from Harrop and a few others where they have a nice profile cut on the top of them, people were getting them leaking around there, and that's what we found out the problem to be. So Holly obviously knew about it and quickly made those plates to fix the issue, but yeah, obviously I got the plate on there for that reason and no leaks at all. She's all running fine, so haven't done any tuning on this as of yet. Really have to now finally, once it's back on the road, there's no oil leaks, there's no vac leaks. Got the Raceworks chrome there. Get it all back and going. I think we got whoop, it's under a bit of pressure. That's all right. Didn't think it was actually hot, but it's got a bit of pressure in the cap. So yeah, now that it's all up and running, we can I can start driving and do a bit of this. And that's, I know one thing that needs attention is mainly the accelerator pump enrichment. It's set way too high at the moment. I know if I try and crack the throttle now, it really falls over on its nose because it's got 8 600cc injectors dumping in a shit ton of fuel, and she's way too much juice going in there. So I'll just refine that, get it where it's all nice and drivable. But if you just progressively lean on the throttle, tune-up's actually pretty good. So you know, can rev it up and returns to idle, but if you were actually to stand on it really hard, it'll really fall over a bit. You can see it's a bit shaky here because there's just too much fuel puddling in the intake at the moment, and that really stops after a while, and that, so it just shows. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you go to air fuel ratio gauge now, which I will, pretty sure it's idling somewhere in the lower 11s. You can see there, it's idling at like 10.5, 11 to 1, which is crazy rich. So, you know, it's obviously now there's less air coming into the engine. So before, I haven't touched the tune-up obviously. Before with that big 100mm throttle body and barely the air leak that it had, this was more like 13 to 1. So there's less air getting in now, so it'll be less fuel that we need to light that off. So get that going now, and that should just about set us right. All right, snazzy new intake, or throttle body anyway, and yeah, all things look good. So don't have to worry about the airbox now, charcoal canister, all that thing. I don't think should be okay. Most 70s cars from this era, they'll look exactly like that with the air cleaner on top. So can't see it being too much of an issue. And yeah, once this thing gets on the road, which hopefully got a couple of tiny little things to do. Maybe just clean up where had a few oil leaks. I think it leaked out the rear main a bit because I think I've really overfilled this. So I read somewhere that there's some capacity on like a 70s Falcon or whatever was more like or 351 Cleveland was around about 5 litres. So I put I put 5 litres in it just and didn't really look at the dipstick till it was too late. As the thermo fan comes on, of course, fuel tech controlling that. Yeah, and I read up later, and I thought, oh, why is there seems to be oil leaking out of it? It shouldn't be leaking out of the rear main. And dumped the oil, which is there, filled the 5 litre container, and there's still a little bit more in there, so it's probably had 5.5 litres in it. And yeah, dumped it, refilled it, and I saw it took about 3.5, and then so I googled again a few things, and it looked like it said about, yeah, site saying 3.7 litres to refill, not including oil filter. So just seemed like a really small oil capacity for such a big engine. So if that's right, if you guys know if Cleveland's generally do that, the dipstick looked right, but yeah, the dipstick sometimes just seems a bit off. So whatever, if it's 3.7 and it's not leaking oil at the rear main anymore, and I've got oil pressure, which I do, I've got really rock solid oil pressure, then happy days. So I have changed oil as well. So this is what's in it now. So I had a HBR 30 in it before, now I've put HBR 40 in it. The only reason I've done that is I don't really know anything about this engine, and it just seemed to be a bit smoky out of the breathers on cold start. So yeah, I just wanted to put, a thicker oil in it and just see if that helped it, and honestly it does seem to have helped it a lot. Never had oil pressure problems. Now I've obviously got a bit more oil pressure because it's a thicker oil, but that thicker oil when cold seems to have really helped the blow-by, so to speak, when it's cold. So hopefully that means when I give it a hard time when it's hot, it's going to be even better as well. So I think that'll about do it for today. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, because we've got heaps more content around and have plenty more stuff coming out through the week. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like it and also share it on all your social medias. That really helps too. But yeah, until then, I'll see you in the comments. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, it's happening. If you're actually watching this video to the end, say so in the comments and say you've seen it. Booyah.